First, want to start off just sending out our condolences and our, heartfelt just thoughts with everyone who was impacted, with the local law enforcement murders that happened, and everyone that's connected to that. I can't even imagine, going through a tragedy like that, and it's been real comforting to see just the city of Charlotte really rally around and support. So I just wanted to first mention that. And then, on another note, just, Steve Smith, North Carolina Sports Hall of Fame. I'm really excited to go to the event tonight. Came in the league in 2010 and spent a good amount of my, first part of my time evaluating the best receivers in the league. And he certainly was one of those, another California guy too. So really near and dear to my heart, somebody I've followed. So I'm excited for that. Just talking about today, just first day on the field with the group, really was just about introducing them to NFL work. The level of detail, the amount of really the exertion and the rapid fire way we do our drills. I could see definitely that there were some big eyes out there in the drills as guys have hopped in and are starting to learn the work that's required of them. And I just, gave all the rookies a heads up on, the type of guys that are here, the character of this team. Our best players happen to be our hardest workers, and really proud to say that and to introduce all of them into our football family. Any questions?
Yeah. Coach, what's your first impression on Trevin Wallace? And the second part of the question, when he was in high school, he worked at McDonald's. He'd get up at 5 a.m. after Friday night game. When you was a teenager, do you have any fast food experience?
I worked at Baker Square. It's kind of like, kind of a restaurant, diner, pies, all that. Did that right before college, put on about a good solid 15 pounds going into my freshman year at Azusa Pacific. So, but I didn't get up at 5 to do that. That was definitely brushing the sand off from the beach and then, hopping into my role as a busser. So, but, speaking of the football, just to see the size, the athleticism, the movement traits, and then just a really intelligent guy, just getting feedback from the defensive coaches about, just how locked in he is, and just, some of the way that they can see him being able to communicate and adjust into our scheme.
Excuse me. At the Senior Bowl, Shane Beamer said, as he talked to scouts and NFL coaches, that a lot of people were like, I didn't realize Xavier was this big, like that kind of put together thing. Did you kind of have that same impression, like in one of your earlier meetings with Xavier?
Yeah, really at the Combine, got to see him there, in person, foot to foot with him, to kind of size him up a little bit. And the way that he carries 225 is pretty incredible, so it's just really well distributed in his body. So it doesn't look like there's this really, thick man. He's just so proportionately built, and then his movement skills, the way that he controls his body, the way he gets in and out of breaks, it's pretty special. To see him out there moving around like he does is really it's impressive.
Dave, Dave, with Jonathan recovering from the knee injury, he was obviously out on the field. What do you want to see from him this weekend, maybe behind closed doors or on the practice field, to get a better impression of what he's capable of processing, maybe, or how he can contribute to the team while he is sidelined?
I just want him to know who we are. So, and that goes for all the rookies as well. But being able to talk to Jonathan and tell him, the intent of our offense is to run the ball, and we believe in that. We believe that opens up everything we want to do. And then just for him to be able to feel the importance of the ball security as we carry it. You're going to touch it a lot, So just being aware of those things, and also just the work ethic, the requirements that we're going to put on him, that he's able to be on the field just to kind of see what the drills look like and how we piece it all together. And of course, in the classroom for us, it's about those core concepts. We got to get our language and communication on the same page so we understand what these run types are, what the landmarks of it is, and having that type of discipline. So those are the things. If we can come away from that in this camp, then that's a success before he gets, back into the full group on Monday.
But how do you manage his role and not, I don't want to say leaving him behind, but a guy that can't practice? Obviously, there's a challenge there. You have so much to focus on for the guys that are on the field. How do you balance that?
Yeah, in my experience, in our system, this goes for really 13 years in Seattle and then the 1 year in Tampa, in my experience, we need all the backs. We need all of them to contribute at some point in the season, knock on wood, but they get nicked or it's in a game and then he busts a shoestring, right? And they're switching his shoes out to get him back ready. And those other backs have to be ready to play. So for me, this is just adding another great player to really challenge our roster, to really, bring into the group at an explosive element, but also just like everybody, we got to all work now, So as I continue to, and Dan and I continue to add great players to our team, it just really elevates the whole room, whichever position that they're in. And this is no different in the running back room.
Coach, what do you see for the role of Michael Barrett? I know it's early, but
Yeah.
what do you see out of him right now?
Just like all rookies, right? He's got to learn the system. He was in a similar system at Michigan, and we were able to evaluate a few players on their defense. And so just seeing him operate that way, his instincts, his ability to communicate, really a sound football player. And so I just see him coming in, learning everything that he can from Shaq, from Josie, and as he picks up the calls, learns how to pass the communication on from the first level to the second level, I'm just really excited to see him work, kind of open his eyes to how we're doing things here. But I'm excited for him.
That viper role that he played at Michigan at all, is that something under consideration too? Or?
I'm not sure about exactly how they used him. You might know a little bit more about Wolverine defensive football. So.
Well, he did first few years. That's what he kind of played, kind of a hybrid role. So
I got to go back to watch the early tape then. Great, I love it.
Why do you think he fell so far in the draft?
I think height, weight, speed measurables, might have made him slide. He's definitely not the 6'3", the giant linebackers that run, that people are used to seeing. But, I've just seen a lot of guys. It takes all kinds of players in this league. And first and foremost, football instincts, toughness, a guy you can rely on. Those are all the reports. Through our evaluation process, that's what we're excited about.
Jalen Coker is one of the more popular undrafted free agent signings. What did you see from him? What do you like from him to bring him here?
Size, instincts, top of route, ability to separate. He's really crafty in zones. He knows how to find the open spaces. Has a little cool run after catch, too. He can break some tackles because of the size that he brings. Attacks the ball at the high point. I mean, the guy really does have a cool skill set that he brings to us. So I'm excited to see him, kind of get introduced as we start to, develop our football, and especially in Phase 3 OTAs. Let's see what he looks like against NFL talent, but I'm really excited about him.
We haven't talked to you since you guys signed Penny, a guy that
Yeah.
you're familiar with. That running back room is kind of thick. I'm assuming
Yeah.
that's something that you're looking to do to create competition.
Absolutely, yeah, and just like I said, I feel like we really come out of the season, we need all these guys, and in several years, we use our practice squad running backs as well, so it's the guys that can do more than just the offensive part. Do they give us value on teams, and Rashad's another guy that can return kicks. He's done that in his career, so bringing him in, to really, push the group, but also he knows the language. He knows how to run certain run types. So I think that as he gets his reps in there, the guys will be able to see the pace that we're looking for and all those things, even from a pass protection standpoint. So I love having that experience. We did the same thing on defense with some guys who have been in our defensive scheme. It really does elevate the intelligence of the whole group.
Is there any concern that there may be too many guys vying for maybe that top spot in that room, or?
I think it's a great thing for us, and I think it's our approach is like to not let good players, get out of here in terms of that room. It's, as we come along and as we challenge them to compete, we're going to see some great effort out of the backs in this camp, and I'm really excited about it.
Do you have any concern about Penny's injury history?
What was that?
Do you have any concerns about Penny's injury history?
Absolutely, but last year in Philly, he really didn't play a lot. He said he feels great, and from what I saw from the preseason, we played the Eagles twice in Tampa early in the season. It was the best he's ever looked. He was in the 223, 224 range for Penny. This is a guy who's played at 233. 234, so he can handle all those different sizes and weights, but he's been healthy, for a year and a half now, so I'm excited to see what he looks like when we get him here.
Was it hard to evaluate the receivers today? It looked like there were a lot of balls on the ground.
Yeah, that's first day. First day is like it's the me to you factor. We got to get another RVA, route versus air, just under our belt so they can learn each other, learn the landmarks of where we're throwing it. And, to the quarterback's credit, Xavier is a big, fast man, and so there is a change of pace. He's covering ground like you're not used to seeing. Just kind of looking at Montana State, Louisville, like they may not have had a guy that's this big, this fast. And so a lot of that I saw was them trying to catch up to the speed and explosion of Xavier coming out of his breaks. But I'm confident we'll be better tomorrow.
Dave, just kind of,
Kind of building off that, so much time this weekend is on, how to do the warm-ups, how to get in and out of the huddle. Like, how much can you actually tell football-wise? And if not, what are your markers and what are you looking for in these guys?
Yeah, the individual drills are really important. So, the way that I look at it is when we bring players in for workouts, pro free agents, in training camp, we'll bring a group out to look at people because when things happen, we have to be ready to add players. So we like to get our eyes on them in person. So these individual drills really for us is like an extended tryout type of thing where we can see the movement skills. How do they translate? How do they transition into our drills? Can we see them executing the movements that we're looking for? So that's really the way to classify kind of what we were doing. And then when we get into the group session, that's really just about introducing what does our cadence sound like? How do we line up in the huddle? What's the tempo we're looking for as we break the huddle and get lined up so that we can continue to push the envelope on that? So we're really trying to evaluate a lot of those things. In this camp, the heart and nature of it wasn't to get into competitive periods against the defense because we have to really gauge, the fitness level of the players as they come in. I don't know what they've been doing. I don't know who they've been working out with and what level of fitness they have. So this also gives us a chance to kind of evaluate that as we come back into Monday, and now they're working with all these men who've been training together for weeks.
Dave, to that end, how do you kind of figure out how much information to give these guys at a time? And was there anything maybe that you picked up from your time in Seattle on how Pete would do that in terms of kind of breaking guys in, not overloaded?
Yeah, kind of dripping overall team philosophy in there, little by little, not trying to just, fire hose, throw it all at them right away. These are the most important things as you come into this Panthers football team. These are the most important tenets. And then from an offense, defense, and special team standpoint, it's really those large core concept buckets. Here's the core of our run game. Here's the core of our play action and boot game. Here's the core of our drop back pass game. So we really keep it high level and we try not to overdo a million formations, like we'll get to that, right? We'll have a lot of variety, and that's the way we attack teams with our formations and personnels. But right now it's very high level. I want them to just have heard it, and I know that they may not get it the first time they go through it, but we'll have all of phase 3 with OTAs to do that. We'll have kind of like a final exam for the spring, if you will, in minicamp. And then we'll start back over in training camp and be able to go through it twice then. So then as we go through it over time, the more times they've heard it, starting now, the more confident we feel like going into the preseason. And then we can really, my goal is that they know the play so we can evaluate the talent. If we're constantly testing the brain, they start to play slow. And then we can't really evaluate the high level of their abilities. We want their personality and who they are as players to really show up by keeping things simple enough for them to play fast.
Coach, you got a couple of players with tryout designation on the sheet.
Yeah.
Some of the things you're looking at with those guys specifically.
Same deal. Movement skills, physical traits. In the classroom, is this a guy that is picking up the concepts? Does he ask good questions? Is he focused? What's his fitness level like? In case we want to add somebody to our roster, So very similar, with the whole group, or some guys will be with us. The tryout guys definitely have a chance to show us something about them.
A couple more. Is Darius Hodges okay? I noticed he went to the trainer's table for a bit. Darius Hodges?
Yeah, I saw him hop back in. So I'm assuming he was just kind of adjusting to the, the NFL tempo of the way that we're working. So hopefully he'll be back out there and continue to work tomorrow.
For Tavian Sanders, how did he look today, and then how's his progress been as you've gotten him in the building?
Yeah, really natural as a route runner. First thing that jumped off is just snap down at the top of routes. Some of those things that, the more specialized tight ends who can, spread out and you can use them in the pass game, you kind of see that right away. Really natural, balanced hands. So just kind of looking for, does the left hand look like the right? And he just always has balanced hands when he comes to the ball, and that's really what showed up on tape. So it was really cool to see that in person. And he just has an ease about the way he does things. It comes very natural to him. So that part's really cool.
Is that like a security blanket, or
Yeah, it just seems like a real friendly target. So I'm looking forward to seeing Bryce throw to him too pretty soon.
Is taking part in warm-ups something that you
We're
normally do?
gonna go jack, and then we're gonna go field, and that's it.
Oh yeah, I just turned 43 last week, so I'm just, I'm trying to, stay limber and stay, and it's really good barometer. Like you should at least look better than the 43-year-old coach as you go through the warm-up drills, so we can kind of get a feel for that. But no, really selfishly is just another excuse to find a workout. So
The B step looked good.
I appreciate it.
David, as you and Dan continue to kind of build your relationship, just
Yeah.
having everybody under contract before this opens, how nice is that to get all that out of the way?
Oh, it's great, right? Just focus on football. Focus on this phase right now, this camp, and then focus on next week, introducing the group, into the rest of the team. And so just really having the guys, knowing that the contract being settled just allows us to really just focus on the football.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
Thank you.